it's a great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome to her own launch the candidate for the Dublin Euro constituency, my colleague, Senator Déirdre de Búrca.
So, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for your kind words, John. And thank you all very much for coming to my launch here this evening, because this event actually marks the start of my campaign to become Dublin's next Green MEP. And as many of you are aware, the Green Party actually held a European seat in Dublin between 1994 and 2004. And it is a priority for the party that we're going to win this seat back. And as the Dublin candidate, I'm determined to reclaim this seat on June the 5th this year. Dublin does need a strong Green voice in the European Parliament, and this evening I'm going to explain why to you. I'm also going to launch my new campaign website, which you can see here, www.whatistandfor.ie. And I'm going to use this website to open up really a two-way conversation with Dublin voters about the kind of issues that they want me to promote on their behalf at a European level. I'm also showcasing some of the new What I Stand For videos developed as part of my campaign by a very creative team of people who are helping me, some of whom are here tonight. These videos are going to be accessible on my website and on my new YouTube channel. In fact, I now have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, a MySpace page, a Twitter and a blog. The European campaign has finally moved me into the 21st century world of virtual communication, and I'm enjoying it. So, with the European Parliament elections approaching in June, what do I stand for as a Green Party candidate? Well, to begin with, in times of economic fear and uncertainty, I stand for thousands of new green jobs for Dublin. If elected as Dublin's Green MEP, I will work closely with the European Green Party to see an EU-wide Green New Deal implemented. That is, a European economic stimulus programme that will see €500 billion being made available from private and public sources in order to create 5 million new green jobs across the European Union. Does Europe need a Green New Deal? Well, as we know at the moment, the EU is struggling to cope with the fallout from the failed economic policies of what has, over the past decade or more, been a right-wing dominated European Parliament, propped up by, we have to say, parties such as Fine Gael and the British Tories. But now, in the face of the global economic crisis that confronts the European Union, governments of member states are tending to react individually to the crisis and trying to protect their own interests without much regard to those of their fellow member states. And a basic ideal of the European Union is that every European citizen is equal, meaning that a consumer or worker deserves equal consideration regardless of whether he or she is a citizen of France or Hungary, of the United Kingdom or Greece, of Portugal or of Latvia. In that sense, we need an economic recovery plan that caters for the needs of all Europeans. But we also have to be realistic and accept that largely national responses to the economic crisis are less likely to be successful for several reasons. Firstly, the economy of all member states are closely integrated with each other. We have a single market, and indeed most of the external trade of member states is done with other member states. Thinking that one or a few member states can find their way out of the crisis alone, leaving their EU partners deep in it, is a dangerous illusion. Secondly, if Europe wants to be at the forefront of the next industrial revolution, the green revolution, no single member state, even the largest of them, can be relevant and successful compared with economic giants such as the United States, China or India. Thirdly, most significant businesses in industries that are essential to a greener economy, industries like energy, transportation, industrial equipment, and even banking and finance. Most of these sectors are transnational. Most of the businesses in these areas are transnational. Therefore, these sectors can't be addressed by national initiatives alone, and that's why we need a European-level response to the economic crisis that all member states face. So looking outside of the EU at attempts that have been made to kickstart what you might call the green economy, over this year and next year, the US has committed more than $110 billion to such initiatives. China, Korea and Japan combined have committed more than $260 billion to green initiatives. while the combined EU effort trails behind at $54 billion. That's less than 0.2% of the EU's GDP for the next 2 years. European leaders at present tend to be quite complacent, claiming that Europe is already at the forefront of the green revolution. However, the figures that I've mentioned show that Europe risks being overtaken by other economic giants. The recovery plan being discussed by EU leaders at present also relies strongly on old-fashioned state aid tools instead of more forward-looking and flexible instruments such as loan guarantees, interest subsidies, direct equity participation, or other tools that provide leverage, allowing the mobilization of 10 or 20 times more funds, including private funds. The main beneficiaries of this kind of alternative approach, which is proposed within a Green New Deal package, are thousands of innovative and creative economic actors across Europe, such as small and medium-sized enterprises, city regions, local authorities, and so on, rather than the big telecom and energy oligopolies that traditional state aid policies typically favour. So what kind of activities will be targeted by the Green New Deal? New business opportunities will include energy-smart construction and housing refurbishment in order to drastically reduce heating and cooling costs, research and development into renewable energies, that's solar, wind, biomass, small-scale hydro, tidal and geothermic, the building of new renewable energy infrastructure in order to make these energy sources more readily available and affordable for everyone, developing an EU-wide electricity grid that allows small energy producers to inject and to sell surplus electricity and to combine different energy sources in an intelligent way. New commercial opportunities for improving pollution control, energy efficiency and materials efficiency, improving materials management through recycling, taking back products and remanufacturing them, developing green appliances and technologies, and drastically reducing the energy consumption of everything we use on a daily basis, from computers to fridges. Shifting to more socially just and less wasteful transport systems, investing in public transport, switching to electrified public transport, developing less polluting cars such as electric cars, and the necessary related infrastructure, also developing sustainable agriculture, food production, and forestry. And for those who are inclined to see or view the prospects of thousands of new green jobs for Dublin as a bit of a green pipe dream, look at some real figures. The global market in eco-industries is estimated at €550 billion per year, and it has enjoyed a healthy annual growth of around 5% since the mid-1990s. In the US, there are currently more workers in wind energy than in the coal industry. The Obama administration has promised to create several million jobs with $150 billion over 10 years. According to the well-known Wuppertal Institute in Germany, thanks to the targeted promotion of green sectors in Germany, 1.2 million jobs have been created over the past decade. Each year, the EU imports fuels to the tune of approximately €1,000 billion. Redirecting part of the spending to more domestic energy sources offers huge possibilities to finance the European energy reconversion. Different reports and studies agree that there are 2 million jobs that could be created in the European Union in the sector of renewable energies alone, but that the time required to achieve that goal depends on political focus and determination. Ireland has the natural resources and increasingly the knowledge and the technology to clean up with clean energy. I know that in government, Ministers Ryan, Gormley and Sargent will ensure that Ireland positions itself to exploit these opportunities. It's also worth noting that 16% of European GDP is spent by public authorities on goods and services, and over half this spend relates to building, construction, renovation, and running costs. The European Commission intends making green procurement policies mandatory within the short term. This move will represent a wonderful opportunity for a green Dublin, fully engaged with Europe, to create thousands of new jobs. In government, the Green Party has already demonstrated how green procurement can create jobs. The Home Energy Savings Scheme initiative will create over 1,000 jobs in Dublin, fitting or improving the insulation of private homes. The expertise gained by our fitters will enable them to compete for contracts all over Europe, for insulation, heating, cooling, ventilation, and reducing the energy consumption of public buildings. Standards for cleaning are about to be mandated all over Europe, both for products such as detergents, sanitizers, and glass cleaning products, and for the cleaning service companies who use these products. Greening cleaning services will bring more jobs and business to Dublin contractors. In public